So, hi everybody. This is our 11th meetup, and yeah, there's some things I thought we should go over, some basics. And I also wanted to show off uh, unreleased version 1.4 features, at least go through some of them. I don't know how many of them will be final, but I'm kind of excited about some of them, and I thought it'd be fun to show you. Um, So yeah, I was expecting maybe Mikey to show up, but he's not here yet. Oh well. Um. So yeah, there's been questions. Probably, I'm gonna share my screen on Discord. There's been questions on the Discord server. That's quite common for people to ask about the PSL commands or how to do pitch slides on M8, especially if you're coming from LSDJ. And I realized, I guess we haven't really covered that in the Discord meetup specifically. So I thought I'd go over some of those things. So that should go through pretty quickly. Hopefully y'all can see my screen. And I'll just jam through them real quick. So I don't remember what LSDJ has in terms of pitch slide functionality. I think it has two different commands, and I don't remember what they do because it's been quite a while since I played with LSDJ. But I will show you the use case of the PSL command. So let's see. So I'm going to add a new command here. PSL says note slide, number of ticks to slide a note. That's basically it. You can see down at the bottom, it now tells you how long that slide's going to last for. So 3 steps. So it's going to play C4, and then when it hits the C5, it's going to slide for 3 steps. So it should stop here, I think. Yep. Another way you could do this is you could put a note here, and I removed the instrument number. By doing that, it means the instrument won't retrigger. So it's just respecting the volume here and not retriggering the instrument. And I'm gonna do a slide to. I'm gonna do a one step slide to C5 before C5 hits. And I'm gonna do it again. Only I'm gonna do it from this note. It's gonna slide up to C5 by using 2 commands here, which the second one will be the pitch command, which is just a relative pitch. Here, let me break everything. So I'm going to let you hear this. It's just a step interval offset on the pitch. So that's our octave. And I'm gonna put a PSL here. I'm gonna make this 2 steps. Oh, that doesn't work at all, does it? Should have thought that one through. Hold on, what if I do that? No. I guess you can't do it in the same row, can you? I thought you could. Now I'm confused. Here. I'm super confused now. Let's see. Pitch slide up on the same note. I see. Yeah, you can't do it on the same line unless it's in the table because you first need the initial pitch. So if I change this to pitch up and a slide here, this would work. Oh, and I have to stop the table because it's wrapping. So when people suggest, people have suggested, and when they do, to do it in the table, this is generally what they're referring to. Of course, I don't need the pitch command. I could use this note column here to do the same thing. Oops, I need to do that. I think I could probably move that here. No, I can't. Let's see. Okay. Let's see, what else did I write down for us to go over on the pitch slide stuff? PSL with pitch, vibrato. I was going to go over vibrato as well, so this is kind of like the general pitch tutorial here. So vibrato is pretty easy as well. The first digit here is the speed, and the second digit is the depth. In theory. Yeah, you could hear that. Bring up the depth. And of course, I could combine these and do that trick that I was talking about with removing the instrument from retrigger. And do a pitch slide. Let's do that. And I'm going to do something fun here. I think this should work. Let's see, speed. Let's bring this up to something crazy. So I'm going to do an interpolation along all of these ranges. To do interpolation, you hold down, when you're in a selection, you hold down select and hit A, or hit edit, sorry. I should probably not increase the speed over time, huh? Let's bring these down. I'm doing this a really weird long way. Here, let me do this. So I'm going to interpolate between 1-1 and 1F. Yeah. Bring that up. Let me show you what I'm talking about with the instrument retrigger here, by putting an envelope on this. So you can see when that instrument column is assigned, it's going to retrigger any envelopes. It's going to restart the table from the beginning. It's going to do all that stuff. Yeah. Let's play with pitch fine. So there's another pitch command here, fine tune, which is up. The range is, look at that, it's relative. The range is from negative 1 step to plus 1 step, or negative negative 1 interval to plus 1. Yeah. So at 0, it's going to be nothing. At 7F, it's going to be plus 1. I think. Maybe it's not. It doesn't really sound like plus 1. Yeah, it is. No, it's not. It's half 1. That's weird. What if I put 2 together? No. That's interesting. So fine-tune's supposed to be that. I'll look into that. That looks like a bug. It should be, I thought it should be plus. It sounds like it's like half of a step, unless I'm crazy. Brightface, help me out here.
I think you want to say minus 50 cents to plus 50 cents.
Yeah. I thought the range was supposed to be plus 1 or minus 1 to plus 1, because that would make more sense than half.
Well, there's rationale for either way because of the fact that you know, you're kind of overlapping the next note anyway. So I don't know. It depends on what you want, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you want the range to overlap all the way to the next semitone, or just halfway.
I actually never use fine tune, and I was trying to think about this earlier when I wrote this down as a note, and the only thing I could think of using fine tune for would be kind of a hack for playing the same sample twice and doing like a flange effect, which I'm gonna try now because I haven't.
Or, if you want to do all the microtonal stuff, that's all the rage with the kids these days.
Right. Yeah, because that would give you that would give you a lot of incremental change over each note, I guess, doing 50 cents.
You'd have to spam it all over the place, though.
Yeah,
if you really wanted to do
sounds
microtonal
tedious.
composition.
Let's see that. I'm gonna try this flange thing. Nope. But I got lost. Samples. Oh wow, this SD card doesn't really have anything on it. That's where I'm losing my mind. Let's do this terrible string sample. I'm gonna do, so I have two of them playing 2 tracks. I'm gonna deep clone that. And then on this one, I'm going to do a fine tune. Yeah, that's a neat trick of using fine tune, especially if you did a left and right pan, hard pan on that to make it like a stereo width effect. Yeah. I didn't know it could do that. That's all my pitch stuff. I don't know if anybody has any questions on that. Somebody asked fine for fine tuning of user sample waveforms to get them in the proper pitch. No, because there's also in the sample, there's also a detune here, which I think is what, I don't remember what the range is. It's like the left digit or the high nibble is the semitone offset, and this guy's the fine tune, the one on the right. So you could dial it in there if you wanted to, versus putting a fine command in a table. Let me go back to our chat. Yeah, so that's all I got to show you about M8 tips or tricks. Unless somebody else has something they want to add or have me go over on this, I want to show you guys some of the 1.4 features.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. So today I released 1.3.7, which is basically a bug fix. Nothing really awesome other than just general stability improvements and issues. And at the same time, I was working on 1.4, which adds some substantial features to M8. I have to switch M8s for this, so I'm gonna do that right now. Too many M8s. Hold on. Oh, I guess it would help if I turned it on. All right. Can y'all still hear me all right?
Yep.
All right. I got like some audio warnings or whatever because plugging in and out M8s. Okay. So this is 1.4 currently in pre-beta. And I'm going to go over some of these features. Let's see. I wrote some notes. Let me look them up. So the first thing to show you, I guess, is I'm going to start a saw again. I'm going to make it less annoying by putting a low pass filter on it. All the volumes are the effect volumes are now in here. Chorus volume, delay volume, and reverb volume, which was a requested feature. So I'm gonna these volumes control basically these three, the effect actual output volume into the mixer. So if I do something like this, maybe. Get the idea. That's the reverb volume command. Then there's also one for the delay and chorus. Let's see what else is new. All right, these are going to be confusing. So the programmers would know this, but normal end users don't really know this. But there's when you use a random number generator, there's normally a way to seed it, which basically sets up its state. So it's normally used in stuff like encryption to have, I don't know. Basically, the premise here is there's a new command that allows you to reset the state of the random number generator. And what that's useful for is if you have like a song and you want to kind of lock in all the random events that happen, so that way they happen the exact same way, you know, whatever that random value is, every single time you play the song, you could insert this SCD command. And the digit here is basically the seeded value. So if you change this, it'll basically change like the sequence of random numbers that happen. If you set this to 0, it'll turn off seed entirely, and it'll be back to, you know, as if the command was never introduced. So I will show this right now by just doing a simple sequence of notes. And I'm going to remove seed for now. I'm going to put in, I'm going to use chance and set the chance to 50%, or roughly 50% for all of these notes. And I need to make this really evident that it's working. So let me turn on filter or envelope. So chance uses the random number generator to do the probability, you know, whether or not this note's going to trigger on every row. And you can see it's just kind of randomly picking all those values. Actually, I'll put it on the first one too, just so it's purely. And every time you play it, it's going to be slightly different. If I put the seed in here, it's going to reset all. Now, seed is like totally global. It's going to affect anything that uses the random number generator across all tracks, across all synths, everything. So I'm going to put the seed to 1. And so that first pattern didn't work at all. But I think when I hit play again now, it's going to do the exact same thing as before. Or not at all. Hey, this will never work. Hold on. Let me... This is where I start embarrassing myself if a feature isn't working yet, because this is not even beta. Yeah, that's working. And if you could hear it's the same thing every time this phrase is played now. If I change this number, it'll be a different random sequence. Yeah, and if I set it to 0, it'll be back to completely random. Yeah. Yay, that feature works. Okay. So that's the seed command.
Quick question. Do you think it would be useful for seed, like to maintain different seeds per channel or something?
I don't have an ability to do that unless I make my own, which might be something I'll do in the future. Not using built-in random functions, but using my own function to allow polyphony of randomness.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
but that's the main problem too, is every time that random's triggered, like anywhere in the song, whether that's an LFO with a random shape or a chance or anything else, it's going to basically increment that random counter and have a new number. For now, let's just consider this a global command. If you want to lock in your song and its random states, that's the way to do it. It would be useful if it was a polyphonic randomness, but that requires a lot more work than what it's currently doing. But it is a good point, so thanks for ruining my feature. I'm joking.
Anytime.
All right, so the next command here is nth. And if we read the horrible text I wrote here, nth trigger notes and commands. So this allows you to only trigger, this is a conditional trigger for lack of a better word, but if you want to trigger a note every other time the phrase plays, that's what nth will do. So you can see right here, it says left not first, right not first. So it's actually 2. It allows you to do everything to the right of the command and everything to the left of the command. This is just like chance does the same thing. So right now 0, 0 means not first, which means this note won't play on the first run of this phrase. So let's see, what else do we got? And if I increment it by 1, left on, it says on 2. So that means it'll cycle every 2 times to trigger that note. So using nth will get you a lot of mileage out of using one single phrase. For, let's say, if you had 4 measures here, or 4 phrases here, you could do something where it only triggers on the 4th phrase without having to duplicate that and customize it. It's really great for drum programming, especially because you can do a little fill, etc. But yeah, so everything from 1 to 7 will do this on the second pass, on the third pass, on the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. And then on 8, it says only first. So it's basically the inverse of the 0. Like if this was 0, it won't play on the first. And if this is 8, it'll only play on the first. So everything above 8 is kind of like the inverse of what it was on below 8. I don't know if that makes any sense, but this will play the first time and the second. That sounds right. That sounds wrong. I think that should say first and third. Oh, maybe it is first and second. I'm confused. Yeah, I think this help text is wrong. It probably should say first and third. Yeah. This is super confusing, I know, but bear with me. So on 1, this is going to play on every second pass, and on 9, it's going to play on the first pass, and then on the third pass, and then on the 5th pass, etc. Ignore the text down here. I think it's wrong, but you know, this is pre-beta, so. And again, why this is super useful is I'm going to change this to sample and load in a drum samples. Let me get rid of all this stuff. Yeah, perfectly bad snare. Yeah. Let's do that guy here. So that second snare, I'm going to put, or that last filler snare, I'm going to put that nth 3, which will be on the 4th repeat. It'll hit. You get the idea, I hope. And it's of course, you got to keep in mind that if I change the phrase in the middle of this chain, it's going to reset that counter, that nth counter. So by me doing this, what I just did now with that number 2, it's going to break it because it has to restart. It's basically the phrase number. It's dependent on the phrase number and if the phrase changes. So now it's not going to end up triggering here. Yeah. But, you know, casualties. So that's the nth feature. What else do we got? Nothing. I'm going to go ahead and start a new song and show you the next thing. Wavsynth. Now, if you have the filter in the more traditional modes, like the other synthesis, it actually shows it, whereas previous versions it didn't. You know, in the previous version, it wouldn't show you the filter at all in the scope. If you were on the post versions of them. Not really exciting. Another not really exciting feature is when you're in live mode, and now it says at the top, select left to exit. I think that's, I don't know if I'm going to do more than that, but that should help people that get stuck in live mode and don't know how to get out of it. And it also makes it much more obvious that you're in live mode. Whereas before, a lot of the times, at least me, I accidentally go into live mode and don't even realize it. So let's look at some of these other features. Boom. New LFO. So we now have 2 LFOs per instrument as opposed to 1, which is a big deal. And you also have all those new commands for the new LFO. The trigger, you know, the amount, the frequency, and the trigger, retrigger position. Let's do... What is that doing? Oh, warp. I have both. That's an interesting thing. What happens when you have both of them on the same parameter? They'll work together in tandem to create kind of a new shape based on their frequency. Volume's a terrible example for that, isn't it? Let's do multiply. Hold on. That's so brutal sounding. All right. Another feature here is, let's see. I don't know if I'm going to change this or not, but if you go past the last thing, which is drunk, it does these T modes, and these T modes are tick-based LFOs, as opposed to step-based. Which has been requested quite a lot. So it's basically, yeah, 6 times faster LFO speeds can be done with those. Of course, this example sounds terrible, but get what you pay for. And of course, the corresponding help actually tells you what the length is here. You can see it's incrementing by tick now. And if I set this one to normal triangle, it's incrementing by steps. Yeah. So another feature, FM synth Bryface, if he's still here, has different shapes.
Whee!
So I'm not sure what the shapes will finally be, but for now I just threw in a couple different ones. So if I turn down this one, so we're only listening to operator D at the moment. I go through the shapes. So it's a half sine, a saw, square, pulse, and then this weird one called impulse. Which impulse is technically wrong right now. It should be more of a ramp shape instead of 2 little ticks there. But we can make some pretty cool sounds with these in conjunction. So especially if we offset their pitches slightly, their ratios. Yeah. So I think like that in conjunction with the second LFO in conjunction with the now tick bass oscillator types in the LFOs, it's severely substantial amount of upgrades for doing some pretty crazy synthesis. I think, let's see if I have any other new things. I added one last thing here, which is only for the FM instrument, which is the FM phase position as a command, which basically resets the phase. Normal FM synthesizers always reset the phase whenever a note is played. M8 doesn't do that because I thought it would sound way too static, like as if it was a sample, because when you have multiple notes, you know, and I'll just show you random sequence here with a filter on the envelope on the filter. Turn that on, turn that down. Well, that sounds sloppy. Like the way that sounds, how it kind of keeps changing over time to me, sounds more interesting as an instrument. But it's not really that useful for percussion because you kind of want control of that start phase every time. So I just exposed that as a parameter in here. So you hear the difference of this synthesizer example. And the value in the FM phase is how much to offset the phase. So you could really fine tune exactly where you want that to be, which is handy, I think, for percussive instruments like bass drums, etc. Here, let me just totally break it. Let's do hop. You can hear how that kind of changes the sound. It sounds terrible if you do what I just did, by the way, because it's constantly resetting the phase. But you know, maybe if you did something weird with it, like did that, maybe, and then that, and put some hops in here. Maybe deleted these. Yeah. It's pretty nutty. That's all the new stuff that is currently happening with 1.4. There's a couple other items that I want to add into that. And I'm going to probably add those before the beta is available. Basically, I want to make sure I have any changes that change the memory done before releasing the beta, so that way we don't have to migrate beta songs. Because all these new features obviously kind of eat more memory, and when you load up a pre-existing song, you do that. So this is that demo track. It had to convert this song in real time when it loaded in to be able to set the second LFO to its default settings and all that kind of stuff. So it's all turned off. So that way old songs work perfectly fine. But now if I go to load, it's going to constantly prompt me if I want to save changes because it converted it on load, but it didn't save it. It's not going to save it unless you actually go ahead and save it. So yeah. Thank you for joining on and listening to my TED Talk. Does anybody have any questions or anything? Sorry, I haven't been watching the stream chat.
Exciting stuff, though, for sure. Like, I think you multiplied the almost like the value proposition of the FM synth, like at least a couple of times with some of this latest stuff. To be honest.
So somebody asks on the yeah, totally. I haven't really dived into what I can make with it, but that it severely kind of amplifies the sounds, I imagine, of what you can create across the spectrum too. Just having the second LFO and the faster rate LFOs, and then the shapes on the FM synth. It's gonna be fun. So somebody asked if there'll be any tutorials. Yeah, obviously there's going to be tutorials and the full user manual probably before units actually ship if you pre-ordered an M8. So that's kind of getting this version finished that I just showed you, and getting this version finished helps me with any additional changes that need to be done to user documentation, as well as any tutorial videos that would be happening. It'd be nice to have that second LFO in there just so that information's not instantly outdated. So I'm trying to get all the changes into this version that are going to be shipping with the production units. So I don't know if anybody has any other questions. I have a couple songs I could share. I don't know if Mike, you wanted to do anything for this meetup?
I have my 1 minute single channel jam that I worked on the other week, which I showed in clips, but if anyone hasn't seen it, I'd be happy to share that. Might as well get that going.
That sounds cool. You should do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it.
Get to it.
I gotta figure out how to get the screen share to work. Oh, it was underneath. All right, there we go. Hopefully everyone can see that and you can hear. Okay, hopefully that was all audible. Yeah, so I kept talking about doing a single channel track. So I made a little jam and I made it in one sitting in the stream, the stream jam voice chat last week, and I touched it a little bit afterwards, but it's just about 3 or 4 hours worth of work. So uh, let me just play it, and then if anyone has questions or they want to peek at it, I will be more than happy to share it. So yeah, let me just play it. So that's it.
That was great.
Thank you. Yeah. So I wanted to try and use all the engines that I could, with the exception of MIDI, for this. So it uses a little bit of everything: Wavsynth, macro, FM, and samples. So yeah, just a couple, I guess, quick notes. The song uses 3/3 groove here, so it doubles the resolution. So everything scrolls twice as fast, which is um, I think if you're going to be doing like trying to do a bunch of like really dense single channel stuff, it really having those 30 seconds allows you to cram way more stuff in. Um, all the like hi hats and stuff are just honestly they're just kind of randomly I kind of just cram them in wherever there was empty space. Um, yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Uh, uh, One thing I liked that I was very inspired by um, uh, S's little FM thing, where they had one of their little lead melodies with just a lot of reverb. Um, uh, is really good for like having that big decay, even though it gets kind of choked out by the other instruments. It's a really good way to kind of um,
Make it
have
sound
like
like more
fake
channels.
polyphony.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Um, so yeah, I'll be more than happy to share this in the resources or wherever. Just the tiniest amount. Oh, I have some reverb freeze somewhere because it's an effect I always forget about and it rules. So everyone should be using reverb freeze command for everything. Yeah. I don't know if anyone has any specific questions. I'm happy to answer about them. But honestly, that's pretty much all I have to share. I have some other stuff. I'd been using the M8 to sequence uh, stuff in Ableton recently. I got some commissions to do some like Super Nintendo style tracks. So I've been using Chip Sounds SFC, which sounds really, really, really damn good. And surprise, surprise, the I guess the SNES has 8 channels as well, so it works perfect for it. I can't really show any of them because I don't really have the routing set up for it, unfortunately. But once I get those finished, I'll probably import them into the M8, and you can at least hear what I sequenced with it. I'll type it out in the chat. It's Chip Sounds SFC. And is it Plogue or Plock? I can't
Plug
remember.
is what I always
Plogue,
called it.
Plogue. Yeah, they have a lot of really good chiptune VSTs. They do a lot of like console modeling. I guess that's the only way to describe it, like console emulation stuff. Their traditional chip sounds is really good, but I absolutely love their SFC for how accurate it is. It even has a built-in SPC player, so you can get like your favorite SNES tracks and pop the SPC in, and it will pull all the instrument data, reverb data, delay data, filter data, all this stuff. So it's supposed to be bit accurate to the actual playback on the SNES. So you can just kind of use the M8 as sort of the sequencer for the VST in standalone mode. It's really cool. The FM one's really good as well. All their stuff is good. I really love their text to speech like singing stuff is really good. Anyway, it's not supposed to be an ad for them, but
All their plugins are super great.
yeah, absolutely super powerful, and the M8 is a great sequencer companion for those. So definitely check it out. Actually, I think I started working on if this track name doesn't make any sense. I was working on a little drum and bass cover of something from Mario Paint, but it's not done yet, so I'll just play a little bit. Yeah, I haven't worked on the percussion for this yet, but it's just something really simple. A lot of use of different groove speeds and stuff to get like triplets and little faster trills and stuff. There's your triplets. Yeah, I love that. I think Chip Tanaka made that track, which makes sense because it sounds very Earthboundy. So yeah, that's all I really have to share.
With the triplets on that one, doing that newer groove trick thing.
It sure is. Let me do that. Let's go back to that real quick. Yeah, so it's my groove 02. It's just 888 and 0, so it plays 3, and then it skips the next one. So yeah.
I love that little like zero groove feature that was added just through discussion on Discord. It's like, well, if you had a groove number that skipped a step, then you could do triplets.
Yeah, super smart, super cool. I didn't know how I did triplets before it or without it. I guess there was always
delays,
hops, but it's in
delays and hops. Yeah.
What a mess! What a mess! So yeah, that's all I have to share today. I'm gonna get some of those commissions done, and then I'll be more than happy to show you guys what it would sound like if the M8 sequenced some SNES stuff. So that will be on my showcase roadmap. Anyway, thanks for listening. If nobody has any questions, I'm just gonna close it.
Yeah, that was super cool.
Yep, thank you.
I like filling awkward silence with my awkwardness. Let's see.
It's all you.
I have some user submitted tracks to share. Let me look up what I have. Give me a moment. I also had to switch my M8s to get out of 140. Let me do screen share. There we go. So hopefully y'all can see my screen. Let's see, what are the songs? This first song is by, I believe, our youngest user in the Discord server. Cytoxic, I believe is their name. Cytoxic. I don't know. Hard to pronounce that one. And their song is called Bass House. Whoa, let me turn down the volume real quick. Get my volumes right. Oops. Well, that doesn't show good sign. Dude, that's crazy. So this is running firmware version 137. Hold on a second. And apparently I didn't get rid of a crash that was reported, which I thought I did. But the crash never has happened to me. And of course, it happens when you're streaming. That's like perfect. Let's see. Let me try that again. Sorry about that. I wonder what causes that. All right. Don't worry, I'll fix it. I promise. I think this is on 137 anyway. Let me fast forward and turn down the volume again. Awesome. Thanks so much for submitting that. And sorry about the crash. I swear I got like maybe 3 beta testing reports on this version about like a random freeze that they weren't able to duplicate it. And I spent at least most of yesterday doing all sorts of crazy things in order to duplicate any sort of random crash. And I was unable to duplicate it. I went through all of my changes and made sure like everything was nice and perfect. and I found maybe a potential thing that might have caused it. So I changed that. And of course, the time it crashes is when I'm showing this live. That's just
By
how.
the way, it's pretty impressive how quickly that song came together because they received the headless unit on like a Wednesday or Thursday or something like that, and just a couple days later, kind of, you know, churned out the like most of this track.
Yeah, it's super impressive. I didn't mean to negate the coolness of their ability to get everything working the way they wanted. I hope they're appreciating the
Well,
headless unit.
yeah, I mean, hopefully it bodes well for others who are, you know, maybe a little bit not sure whether they'll like pick it up quickly enough.
So somebody asked if you're able to export individual tracks, stems as WAV files, and the answer is yes. Let's see. I have next track. Let's see if it crashes again. What's awesome is the fact that since all this is being streamed and recorded, I'll know exactly like what was going on when it occurred. So at least I have like some exact record of it, so I know where to kind of dive in and fix it. Let's see. I don't know whose songs these all are. I believe Disposable Planet. Is this one yours? The Onetrackmind? Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and play Disposable Planet's track here. That was an awesome. Stop. That was an awesome one single track song, and I like how you used basically the rendering function to So some of this is rendered so that they could mess it up even more than the original composition, I believe. Like the scratching effects and that kind of stuff. That was pretty amazing. And Disposable Planet also said they will share the bundle in our resources channel on the Discord if anybody's interested.
Yeah, the scratching is a really cool technique. As I understand it, it uses the LFO to swipe the playhead of the sample back and forth using some sort of like fast LFO or something like that.
I did something similar once. I don't think I have the song anymore though. But that's one way to do it would be LFO assigned to pitch. I think when I did it in table, which sounds more annoying.
Or did I get this right? There's the sample is set to sort of that granular mode, and then maybe with a table or alpha would just kind of sweep back and forth through sections of that sample to kind of simulate.
Hello.
Hello.
Yep.
Hello. Hey. Yeah. So I used the PSX command or the PVX command, the extreme vibrato, and the start point command. And I basically put a table on it that had, if you go up to some of those instruments, I think instrument 7's table has like a cutout gain effect on it, like a gating effect on it. Maybe not.
Well, that was
Maybe not
6.
7.
Hold on. Maybe not 7.
One of those resampled channels has like a gate effect on it, and there was also like a table hop to tell it to go from triplets to back to quarter notes.
Yeah, see these two. That looks like it.
Yeah, and so at one of the previous meetups, someone had mentioned, I think it was either Tim or Mikey, that the PVX command does really cool things on samples. So I just kind of serendipitously stumbled across this scratching effect. I was trying to recreate like a stutter effect on like a sampler, like a PO33.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you go to chain 7, the beginning of chain 7.
What's song row?
Oh, song row 8.
Oh, I see.
And go into phrase 1 or 4, and you'll see you'll see how the start points follow. I rendered out like 2 8-bar chunks and followed the start points, and then just would trigger the extreme vibrato command. I found like 0F has a good sound to it for a scratch effect, and if you go further down, there's a table hop one. Maybe it's there it is right there. On the instrument OE, there should be a table that goes from triplets to there it is. So with that, it kind of changed the scratching with the extreme vibrato effects.
Cool.
I'll post the bundle and resources.
I'm gonna play it. After you, there you go. Yeah, I was getting major feedback on your microphone, so I was like, I'll play this little part again, but it's gonna sound weird with the feedback. That's super cool.
Yeah, really cool effect. It kind of goes into like plunderphonics territory, I think, with that.
All right, I'm going to play the next track, which is by Glooms, I believe. Let me double check that. Yeah. So I'm going to play these 2 tracks. Glooms submitted 2. I'm going to play them back to back. Apparently they are 2 minutes long. And let's hope I don't crash. I love that track. I don't know why. Maybe it's the, I guess, MIDI-NES samples. The drum samples. The low bit rate drum samples. Yeah, super great job. I'm going to play the next song. I'm excited. Super great. Super great job. Thanks for sharing that so much. I know you planned to share that last meetup, but I couldn't seem to download the files. So glad I was able to get them this time. Somebody asks who made this and hope it gets posted up to Artist SoundCloud or wherever they have. Glooms, if you want to share that information, I will pass it along. That was in the Twitch chat. With that said, I think we covered everything for this meetup. Unless anybody has any questions or wants to go over something or something they want to share.
Hey, congrats on those pre-orders, by the way.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, pre-orders are sold out. But occasionally somebody cancels their order, and occasionally there's like one more unit that pops up. But right now they're capped, so that way I could ensure that the pre-orders that are currently registered are able to be fulfilled. So I have to cap it at a certain number, so that way the batch that I'm currently having made and making, if there's any errors with those, I have more than enough to fulfill all the orders. So hopefully after those pre-orders ship, there'll be some more units available on the web store for direct ordering as opposed to a pre-order. I'll know more
Good
once we
stuff.
get closer to that time period.
Yeah, super exciting.
Yeah, I'm also excited about getting the new 1.4 beta out. I need to make sure if there's any other changes I want to do that involve the memory before I'm able to start that beta process. So, and apparently there's a bug in 1.3.7 that does a random crash. So I'll probably be looking into that after this meetup and dig into it and find it. So there'll probably be one more 1.3 version before that 1.4, just so that we have a stable release before any other changes are made. Yeah, looks like that's it. Thanks everybody for joining. Thanks Mikey for showing those stuff, and thanks everybody else for sharing your tracks. Again, all this will be posted on YouTube, as well as any artists' credits and links, etc. So, thanks everybody. I'll see you in 2 weeks when we do another one.
Have a wonderful weekend.
Excellent.
Bye.
Bye-bye.